We got some huge news to talk about, guys. Dana White just dropped some banger fights on Instagram for 2024. We even got some matchups for UFC 300. I'm going to go through the list of all the fights that he announced, and then I'm going to really get more in depth with each one of those matchups. First one that was announced by him for UFC 298, February 17th, we have Robert Whittaker versus Paulo Costa. Love it. Also, something to note, Jeff Neal versus Ian Garry is now taking place at UFC 298. It got moved from that UFC 299 card. In Mexico City on February 24th, Yair Rodriguez versus Brian Ortega in a 5-round co-main event. Really high-level fight. I mean, both guys, in my opinion, in a spot where they're in must-wins if they ever want to be considered for a title shot again. And now moving down the list, March 30th in Atlantic City, New Jersey's own, Aaron Blanchfield takes on Manon Fiorot in what I think is the flyweight #1 contender fight. And then at UFC 300, April 13th, we got some fights announced. We got Prochazka, Alexander Rakic. We got Aljamain Sterling at 145 versus Calvin Kattar. And we have Bo Nickal versus Cody Brundage. Of course, they throw the Bo show, Cody Brundage. Damn. Guys, I want to talk more in depth about each one of the matchups. So make sure you guys smash that like button. And if you're new, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to go in order of how Dana White announced it and how I just listed them off. So first things first, we got UFC 298. We got Robert Whittaker versus Paulo Costa. Whittaker coming off of a brutal loss to Dricus du Plessis, which he was a big favorite. Not a lot of people thought he was going to go out there and lose, especially in the fashion that he did. He got finished. He got bullied by Dricus. Now he fights against Paulo Costa, who's a guy like Dricus du Plessis who can overwhelm opponents. Now, Paulo Costa, I think, had a subpar performance against Luke Rockhold, but nonetheless, he was able to beat Luke Rockhold by a decision in his most recent fight. Now, we know he has a loss to Marvin Vettori at 205, but there was some explosive and epic kicks thrown by him there. For me, picking a winner here is like murky waters. I don't know what the lines are going to look like. I would assume Rob Whittaker's a favorite, but you know, it's weird here because I'm worried that Paulo Costa could overwhelm Robert Whittaker. But there's one knock on Paulo Costa that I think, looking at his frame, we forget. He is not a one-punch knockout artist by any means. Go back and watch him fight Johnny Hendricks years ago. He landed some bombs on Johnny, but it wasn't one shot that put Hendricks down. It was the accumulation of the swarm. Paulo Costa is a guy that can bully his opponents and overwhelm him with his physicality and then get a potential stoppage in the second or third round. He's not really a first-round knockout guy. That's never been Paulo Costa's game. Now I got to pull up Tapology because I got to see, does Paulo Costa inside of the UFC have any first-round knockouts? Off the top of my head, I can't think of one. Now, I could be wrong on that. Looking at Paulo Costa with his wins, he does have 8 first-round knockouts overall, but he has not won by first-round knockout in a long time. All the way back to his UFC debut against Gareth McClellan, he knocked him out in 1:17 seconds. But inside of the UFC, he's a second-round knockout guy, or he'll swarm you, overwhelm you, and win a decision. What's crazy is, since 2019, his record is 1 win and 2 losses. He fought 2020 one time, 2021 he fought 1 time, 2022 once, and he did not fight all of 2023. Paulo Costa has been pretty inactive, and I feel like that inactivity is a worry coming in and fighting Robert Whittaker. Now, I know Whittaker had a subpar performance against Dricus du Plessis, but he had a pretty good 2022. He lost to Adesanya in a very competitive fashion, and I think was really close in that fight. It was a competitive matchup. Like, I know a lot of people say you're crazy if you can argue he might have got the decision, but it definitely wasn't a blowout. And then he clearly beat Marvin Vettori, and it was a 3-round fight. I think he can shine. I know he lost in 2023. Dricus du Plessis overwhelmed him, bullied him. Paulo Costa is not Dricus du Plessis. Coming into this video, I'll be honest with you guys, I didn't have my picks already set. I'm going how I feel in the moment. I was thinking during my live stream earlier on, I was like, guys, I feel like I'm going to go the way of Paulo Costa. But right now, how I'm feeling inside, I think Rob Whittaker can beat Paulo Costa. I think he can beat him by a decision, especially a motivated and mentally stable Rob Whittaker. I think he's in a really winnable fight with Paulo. So I'm going to pick right now Robert Whittaker to win a decision. And I do think he could be a bit of a favorite. Paulo, nonetheless, physicality, explosive, savage, not a one-shot knockout artist. And do I see him just teeing off on Rob Whittaker? Not really. I don't see that. Damn good fight there. Damn good fight there. Now, obviously, we know with Ian Garry, Jeff Neal, if you haven't heard my early prediction, I've been picking the side of Ian Garry. Yes, it got moved from UFC 299 to UFC 298. I actually really love this fight. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I feel like Ian Garry's slickness is going to lead him to victory, and I will be picking Ian Garry to win a decision. Now, moving to the newly announced fights, Mexico City's Yair Rodriguez versus Brian Ortega rematch. You know what's interesting is I thought this fight was already official. I know it had been teased, and I was pretty sure that it was happening in Mexico City, so now it's officially announced. I feel like you have to pick Yair Rodriguez to win again and potentially finish a Brian Ortega. Now, Yair Rodriguez, he had a damn good fight with Josh Emmett. Like, looking at how that fight aged with how good Josh Emmett just did against the likes of freaking Bryce Mitchell and how impressive Josh Emmett can be with his punching power for a year to just bully him and walk through everything. And then I know Josh Emmett, he still went 5 rounds with the likes of Ilia Topuria. Brian Ortega hasn't fought in a year and a half. It was the shoulder injury loss to Yair Rodriguez. And then before that, it was 2 years ago against Volkanovski. By the time they're fighting is February 24th. So we're going to have like a year and 7 months off for him. Bro, you have to go Yair over Brian Ortega. I think I'm going to go Yair to finish him. I think he might knock him out. I think he could win by submission. His triangle is pretty on point. I just think that Brian Ortega's time has passed right now. He's taken some layoffs. He's dealt with some injuries. We've seen him at the peak of the game. And I think Yair Rodriguez, outside of Ilia Topuria, outside of Volkanovski, outside of Max Holloway, he's fucking good. He's top 5 as hell. Now, it's not that Brian Ortega isn't like top 8. I think Brian Ortega is pretty damn good, but the inactivity, I'm worried about. I'm going to pick Yair to beat him again. I think he could knock him out. I think he could hurt him a lot on the feet. And the grappling of Yair, I feel like matches up well. Where I worry about Yair against grapplers is against grapplers that have good takedown offense. That's not what we're necessarily dealing with here with Brian Ortega. I think Ortega is going to eat a lot of shots, and he's going to end up going down. I think he'll get finished. Now, he might get subbed too, but I feel like finish for Yair makes a lot of sense, and I expect him to be a good-sized favorite heading into this fight too. Now, moving to the women's fight, the number 1 contender fight at women's flyweight, March 30th, Atlantic City. Shit, I don't even know how to say Atlantic City. Damn. Jersey's own Erin Blanchfield at home takes on Manon Fiorot. I'm assuming this is the main event. We're not confirmed that it's the main event, but we're just going to take it as it is the main event. Over 5 rounds, I believe that Erin Blanchfield's wrestling pressure will aid her into winning a decision. I think she's going to be nonstop. In the first and second round, I think Fiorot can land a lot of strikes, and for the most part could keep Blanchfield off of her. But as the fight wears on and it sets in and the fatigue hits the side of Manon Fiorot and she doesn't have that same movement, I don't see her knocking out Erin Blanchfield. I think Erin's going to be interface, pressure, grappling attack. You know I'm on the Erin Blanchfield all of hype train, and I have been since the start of it. I'm going Erin Blanchfield to win. I think she's going to take it. I feel like over the 5 rounds, I could see her getting a decision, but it's not crazy if she put together a late finish of Manon Fiorot, especially in those championship rounds. I think Blanchfield's wrestling pressure is too much. I've been high on Blanchfield for a while. She took some big shots against Talia Santos. She wears her shots well. She can eat. Manon Fiorot, I don't think has that fight-stopping power. She had a good win over Rose Namajunas last time, and she beat Caitlin Chukagian, but she's not like going to go out there and rock Erin Blanchfield. I think Erin Blanchfield is going to be able to walk her down over the course of the fight, and her like absolute savage Jersey mentality is going to come in. She has that killer Jersey mentality, so you know I got to rock with Jersey's own. I'm going Erin Blanchfield for the win and expect her to be a little underdog here, and she's a damn good dog. Blanchfield over Fiorot. Now, at UFC 300, we got 3 banger fights. First, we'll talk Yuri Prochazka versus Alexander Rakic. I like this fight a lot. It got pushed back a bit. It was supposed to, actually, excuse me, it was supposed to be initially Rakic Blachowicz. And then it seemed like Khalil Roundtree was fighting Rakic at, I believe, UFC 298 or even 299. And then we heard that Prochazka might step in. Now we have it official, Prochazka versus Rakic. Now, Rakic has not fought since the injury. So we got to pull up Rakic's Tapology here. Rakic has not fought since 2022, May. Yeah, his leg got hurt in the second round when he took on Jan Blachowicz. But he was winning on top in the first round. And then before that, he beat Thiago Santos by a decision, Anthony Smith decision. Jiří Prochazka lost to Alex Pereira. Before that, he beat Glover in a fight he was losing. Then obviously the Reyes win, Oldsdemir win. Damn, this is a weird one. Pick-wise, because I could see Rakic's frame being difficult for Prochazka to deal with. Him being stuck striking, though. Something about Rakic, though, I will say. He doesn't have the crazy one-shot knockout power. He's a good technical striker, and he does have very strong inside game and strong top game. Jiří Prochazka, I think, is the heavier puncher of the two. And now I know he's coming off of the knockout loss to Alex Pereira, but I don't want to write off Prochazka. I think I'm going Prochazka. I know Rakic, though, he's calling my name a little bit because Rakic is good. But he's been out a while. He hasn't taken on somebody as crazy as Jiří Prochazka. Rakic's lone loss, the Volkan Ozdemir fight, I thought that he won too. I guess he also lost injury against Blachowicz, but I'm talking about, you know, a loss that he went long. I thought he won that Volkan fight. So just bad circumstances in the UFC. I mean, he could be looking at a 16-1 guy. I really think Prochazka has a chance to walk him down. I think Prochazka could look better in this fight than he did against Alex Pereira. A little bit of ring rust coming off after he got knocked out. I'm going to go Prochazka. I'm going to say Prochazka in a chaotic fight. Rakic tries to play it safe and outpoint Prochazka by a decision, but I think that you're going to see Prochazka walk him down and unload big shots. And I do think he can hurt Rakic. I think it's going to be a lot harder for the flip side. Rakic rocking Prochazka. I'm not writing off Prochazka's chin by any means because Pereira dropped him. And a lot of people complained about the stoppage because I don't think he was absolutely out cold, but he was rocked. Yeah, I'm going to go Prochazka. I expect these lines to be near even money, but I think Jiří Prochazka can pull it off by a TKO. Pressure heavy onslaught, big shots landed. I think he could win a TKO here. I think he could stop him on the feet. Rakic is going to fight so safety first, though, and if he does win, I'm telling you, I have a feeling he wins by snooze fest, and he's not going to be earning a lot of fans. At 300, we want vengeance and violence, and if you're Rakic, you're going to be brought into a firefight with Prochazka, and I'm going to say Prochazka comes out on top. Love having absolute violence, the samurai himself, Jiří Prochazka, on the 300 card, the Spartan card. Fuck yes. Fuck yes. Prochazka for the win. Aljamain Sterling versus Calvin Kattar. This is a good one. My goodness, this is a damn good one. I love this fight. Now, Calvin Kattar is the natural featherweight. Aljamain Sterling coming up from 135 pounds. He was knocked out by Sean O'Malley, but before that, split decision over Henry Cejudo, beat TJ Dillashaw, who had one arm, split decision over Jan, and then obviously the DQ win over Piotr Jan. Calvin Kattar's on a 2-fight losing streak. He lost to Arnold Allen. He got injured in that fight, and then he lost to Josh Emmett by, I think, a semi-controversial decision too. I really think that Calvin Kattar is going to box Aljamain Sterling's face off and avoid his wrestling for the most part, I think. And I'm going to say Calvin Kattar with the hands touches up Aljamain Sterling, and I feel like he knocks him out. This is going to be a rude awakening for Aljo at 145 because he was taking on way smaller guys. Calvin Kattar is taller by 4 inches. Now, he only has a 1-inch reach advantage, but he's just naturally a much bigger human. Expect Aljo to look to pressure wrestle. But Kattar has a wrestling background too, even though he's known for his boxing. I think that Calvin Kattar, I think he can do his thing here. I think his hands will fly nicely. I think he touches up Aljo with good punches, and he works towards like an accumulation of strikes KO. I'm going to go Calvin Kattar for the win. I see him pulling this one out. We're riding with Kattar. I'm going to call it TKO. I'm going with Boston, baby. I'm going with Massachusetts. If Aljo wins, then I think it could maybe set up like a big super fight for him against a Max Holloway or something like that. But this is a fucking hill to climb against Calvin Kattar. Now, I know the knee injury could come back looking worse than ever. And Aljamain Sterling, if he's on point with his wrestling, what if he takes Kattar's back? What if he subs him? I just feel like Kattar's going to touch him up with a hand. So I'm going Kattar for an accumulation of strikes KO. And then closing it out, we have Bo Nickal, Cody Brundage. Obviously, Brundage coming off of a nice slam win of Zach Reese. Before that, he beat Jacob Malhoun, albeit it should have. I mean, it was a DQ, but like Malhoun was whooping his ass. And Brundage was taking L's on L's on L's before that. We look at Cody Brundage's last 5. I mean, he beat Zach Reese. He has a DQ win over Malhoun. Dumas whooped him. Rodolfo Vieira beat him. Michael Oleksiejczuk knocked him out. And then digging even more. Before that, he does have a knockout win over Tresean Gore. So he has shown some punching power, and Cody Brundage is a capable fighter. But how the hell am I not going to pick Bo Nickal? Yeah, he's going to be a minus 1,000 favorite, sure. But I'm going to go with the Bo show to win. I'm going to believe in the hype. I think Bo's going to out-wrestle Brundage and beat him up from top. I think he works towards a finish. I think submission win for Bo Nickal's pretty live here. He's going to be way too fast when they actually hit the mat. I think he's going to be way more athletic than Cody Brundage. We got to go Bo show to get it done. And he's opening the card. Bo Nickal, Cody Brundage. This seems like the prelim opener for UFC 300, and I love it. I think it's a great fight. UFC 300 is going to be sick. We're already getting a taste of what's to come, and I'm telling you, this card is going to be epic. It has to be. It's 300. It's a milestone card. Bo Nickal for the W. Bo Nickal with the finish. I'm going to call submission win. He's going to be a huge favorite. He'll move to 6-0. I actually was going to predict that Bo Nickal was going to end up getting a ranked fighter here. I thought maybe they're going to give him Paul Craig, but I guess one more here, and maybe they work him towards the rankings, or they want to slow build Bo. I mean, he's only got, what? This is going to be a 6-pro fight, so I could see them giving, what, another 2, 7, 8, and then at 9-0, he gets somebody ranked, or going to try and be 9-0, he'll get somebody ranked. But I definitely think he's running through Cody Brundage. Dana White bringing some heat for us, guys. I was so happy that we had these fights announced. It was during my live stream. I'm doing daily live streams. If you guys don't know, keep it locked in the channel. I'm live every day. I'm live for 90 minutes. What happens towards the end of the stream? Dana White drops some banger fights. And I said, perfect time. Right after this stream, drop a video and give my reaction to all of the matchups. That is the news. We got banger matchups. Guys, let me know. What do you think of 300? You think it's going to be a sick card? Because I absolutely do. I think it's going to hit. I really do. And I think this is a good opening bout. Bo Nickal, Cody Brundage, I want to see it. I'm interested in the matchup. It's a showcase fight for Bo. We got great news. We got fun fights. I'm happy Dana is also teasing more fights coming after the new year, maybe even the main event for UFC 300. Keep your eyes locked in on the channel because I'm going to be reacting to everything. And if there's no news to talk about, of course, I will be doing my live streams every day too. So keep it right here, locked in at MMA Experts. Make sure you guys subscribe if you're new. If you enjoy the content, smash that like button. And if you have nothing to say in the comments, but you just enjoy the content, as always, drop a W in the chat to boost the algorithm for your boy. Post notifications. Put them on all, not just personalized. You don't want to miss a video, especially a live stream. Those live streams have been hitting the spot. I know the people watching them will enjoy it, and you can probably find out down in the comments below. Thank you guys all for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. Much love, my people, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.